Warning: the following podcast, which contains strong language and mature content, is unsuitable for children or for the faint of heart. The subject matter discussed will be frightening and graphic in nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Three spooked girls. Three spooked girls. When you wanna hear about the paranormal, you get the spooked girls. True crime that makes you hypothermal with the three spooked girls. Stabby snippets will give you dreams. Tara and Jessica will make you scream along with the spooked girls. Bring on the slaughter. We on that haunted ground. Spooked girls. The three spooked girls.
Hey Spooksters, and welcome back to another episode here on Three Spooked Girls. My name is Tara, and as always, I'm here with my girlfriend Jessica.
Hello.
Hello. And today is another installment of True Crime Headlines. It's been a minute since we've done one, so I decided the time arrived for that. We have a few updates on some big cases we've covered, and then I just kind of went around like I always do and found some headlines for us on cases that are happening right now. So before we get into that, some of these are kind of rough today. There are timestamps with each case, and we are going to kick things off in just a moment with Diddy, since it's been a minute since we've talked about his bitch ass. Get ready for that and strap the fuck in. But if you are new here, hello, welcome. Thank you for checking out the show. Returning Spooksters, welcome back. And if you are not hanging out with us on social media, you can find us at all the places. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, everywhere with the handle at Three Spooked Girls. We also have our amazing Facebook group, Three Spooked Girls Official. We've been talking about our Secret Satan gift exchange, which those signups are still open until the beginning of September. The only way to participate is to be in the group. There has been a rather large wave of you guys who have come on over, and that's super exciting. So if you're listening and one of those people, welcome. But yeah, it was a lot more than I expected. Like, we always get a wave this time of year and then in spooky season. But it was just like, damn, y'all were like, no, bitch, we're coming. We're doing this. We're doing this.
It was like we announced it, and then it was like that day that it went out, we had like such an influx. And I was like, okay, I see you people. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Right? I know. I love it. I love it. So yeah, definitely come hang out with us over there. If you are a reader, we do have a book club. It is Spookster Literary Society in the Bookclubs app. This month, we're doing a thriller. We do all kinds of different stuff, kind of to mix it up. We'll do dark romances sometimes, cozy mysteries. We've done some kind of like reimaginings and things like that because we did Lilith last year. We've done like pretty much, I don't know. I think we've hit almost every genre that you and I, and also Ashley, enjoy. So love that. But if you're a reader, you can come join us there. We have discussion threads going, and we do a virtual meeting once a month. So definitely check it out. And if you would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Three Spooked Girls. For as little as $1, you get one bonus episode a month. 5 and up get ad-free episodes the day before and a ton of backlog on bonus content. So definitely check that out if that interests you. But that's really all I got today. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. If you guys have been keeping up with the Diddy case, either by choice or because it's popped up on your FYP, we know that his trial has concluded and he was convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution relating to Cassie and an anonymous victim known as Jane. Basically, it meant that the jury found him guilty of transporting the 2 women to places where they would participate in these sex acts and, quote, prostitution. This felony dates back to the man Mann Act, which we have talked about on here before, which was enacted in 1910. Unfortunately, the other charges that would have given him more time, such as racketeering, he was found not guilty on those, which is really disappointing. But the fact that he is still in prison at all, I feel like is still a little bit of a win. And the fact that, in my opinion, we have all seen all of the videos of Cassie. We have heard her story. We have heard other victims' stories. So in my opinion, we all know what a piece of shit he is, and there's no going back. That in itself, I feel, is at least a little bit of justice. So
definitely be like OJ Simpson type
for sure.
moment if he got out, because people would just stop trusting him. And before OJ was convicted, he had a lot of deals, and then, or not convicted, but Diddy was found convicted. I don't know. I just feel like if he got out, it would be an OJ Simpson type situation.
Mm-hmm. Now, during this, because we are still waiting on his sentencing, which will be happening in the fall, I believe the last I read, unless something has changed, was around October 3rd is when they will be having his sentencing. His team has still been working in overdrive to try and find a way for him to get out on bail, which has been denied, I believe, twice now. And now their newest thing is they're trying to get it so he can do house arrest versus being in prison, which we already know he's a flight risk. That's why he has no bail. So good luck getting this. But his lawyer talked to TMZ recently. This article was from the 8th of August. So in real time for us, because this is Sunday the 10th, just a couple days ago. So, like about a weekish since you guys have heard this. Now, from TMZ's article, because if you guys want to watch the video version, of course, is out. They have it on their socials and on their website and all of that stuff. Mark, I'm probably going to say his last name wrong, but who fucking cares, because he's defending Diddy. Agnifilo, something like that. I don't know. Mark's the lead lawyer on Diddy's team. And the biggest reason they are saying that they want this house arrest is so that way Diddy can get the proper therapy for both anger issues and substance abuse, and says that the prisons aren't equipped to provide optimal help for those areas. Now, Harvey from TMZ asked him, will he ask the judge to place his client on home confinement rather than prison when he's sentenced? And he said that it's, of course, on the table, as we all know, right? He's asking for it to be a possibility, and that they are already putting together the information so they could, provide what providers he'll be with, what therapy he'll be in, all of this stuff. And it would still be a, quote, supervised release. And saying basically these prisons aren't going to help him and he wants to get better and all of these things. But it's like, bro, you're literally a billionaire. If you wanted this kind of resources and treatment plans and things like that, don't you think he would have already done it? He's only doing it because he got caught. Let's be honest.
You're reading my mind. That's exactly what I was thinking. And so the only reason he's like, wait, I need to get help now is because he's gotten caught and people expect this kind of like narcissistic behavior where he's like, well, I'm now, because it's basically he's turning himself into now I'm the victim of this, like these disorders that I have and I should really get help for them. And if you don't let me get help, then you're the problem, not me. I suffered from this. No, we've covered it on the pod here. And it's like, he's had run-ins with the law and anger issue things since the 90s, since he was with J-Lo. Like, there's all this time he could have gotten help and he hasn't. And if he's on house arrest, he's only going to pay off doctors to come to the house and say that he's, quote, doing the work, and he's not really going to do the work. That's just, it's not going to be a thing. He's also he's just going to pay doctors off to do what he wants. Also, it has been documented that most, if not all, of Diddy's homes have tunnels running underneath them. So he's going to return to his own property where he has an escape route ready to go. Also, do you know how easy it would be for him to pay off a person? Because, there's like a moment that he'd have to wear like an ankle bracelet. And there would be a moment where you have to recharge it. So it's like, I think like 20 or 30 seconds you have to get it from like your ankle to the base. They could slip that off onto someone else. They could have a bracket waiting to go. They could have his thing ready to go. And then they switch it out. I'm just saying. And he could get on a plane and disappear and we would never see, he has enough money, we'd never see him again. Thank God the judge has been like, no, you can't get out, because we've seen it where celebrities get different kinds of treatment, even when they do really, really heinous, fucked up shit. And thank God he has a judge who has a conscience.
Oh, yeah, because this could have played out so differently, just dependent on who was overseeing everything. So I hope that he continues to stand firm in his rulings. The bail decisions have made me a little bit optimistic, at least. So I'm really hoping that they decide, hell no, he's too much of a flight risk, because he is. He literally is. He literally tried to run away on his private jet before he got arrested. That alone should show you, like, this man cannot be trusted. The people around him still cannot be trusted. He needs to sit his ass in prison for however long that he gets sentenced for. And I really hope that he gets the maximum sentence. They're also trying to apply the 10 months he's been incarcerated, or it may be a little bit more by now, but they're trying to include that into as time served, which we've seen in so many cases. But I really hope that's not applied either. But I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens as we go along. So yeah, definitely we will keep you updated as we approach that and whatnot, of course.
And it's not like he's going to be in a regular prison. Like, let's be real. He's going to fucking Camp Cupcake. So, like, let's not sit here and pretend that he's going to, like, Folsom or San Quentin. Like, he's not going there. He's going to a low level, like, rich people prison. He's not. So it's like, I don't. Yeah, he won't have his freedom, but, like, Diddy's going to have some sort of luxury and some sort of whatever. And even if he was in a regular prison, he's Diddy. But this is the thing I've been saying lately with people. I just hope that Diddy for the rest of his life has an ingrown toenail that he just can't get rid of. Every shoe he wears is uncomfortable.
Facts. Yeah, he deserves so much more than that. But at the bare minimum, yes, please let that happen to that man.
And annually chip a tooth.
Yes. Love that. Moving on from Diddy, our next one was not an article I was really expecting to come across, but this one read, "Cruise ship evacuated after man claims to have explosive device on board." And the byline is, a 63-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of public order offense and communicating false information. So at around 11:46 a.m. local time on Saturday, August 9th, police were called to the Mayflower Cruise Ferry Terminal in Southampton, England. Plot twist, yes, this was not in the US like you would think. For once, it's not us doing something.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. After receiving reports of, quote, a man claiming to be in possession of an explosive device, end quote, Hampshire police said in a statement obtained by People. Officers searched a large truck near the location, and ITV News reported that police formed a large barricade as they investigated the P&O Cruises ship Ventura. Hampshire or Hampshire is probably how you really say it. So, like, UK people, please don't be mad at me. I'm sorry. Later confirmed that no explosive devices was located during the search. Quote, "We are satisfied that there was no risk to the public," end quote. Authorities say the 63-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of a public order offense and communicating false information. He was later released on bail, and he has a court hearing set for November 8th. A P&O Cruises spokesperson said in a statement per ITV News, "Due to an earlier police incident and in an abundance of caution, we made the decision to evacuate Ventura and the passenger terminal. The safety of our guests, crew, and port staff is our highest priority, and we are grateful for the cooperation of the authorities, as well as everyone's patience whilst the precautionary measures were in place." In the footage obtained by The Mirror, armed police could be seen surrounding the cruise ship terminal as a man was handcuffed. One passenger who witnessed the arrest told the outlet that he saw the man, quote, being dragged out of his car by 6 armed policemen with tasers and guns, end quote. The eyewitness added that he saw staff, quote, turning people away, end quote, from the cruise ship while a couple of thousand were waiting to board the vessel. The Southampton site where the search took place is run by Associated British Ports, according to ITV News. And then people reached out directly and didn't get a quote or anything. But you know what? Good on them, because when I was reading this, obviously different situations, but it just made me think of Amy Bradley, because y'all know that documentary came out recently, and of course I watched it. When they found out she was missing, they didn't even bother to not let people off or not take it seriously. So I know this is different in different locations, but it's nice to see that the cruise line, whether it's, one here or one elsewhere, are taking these things seriously. And I'm glad that it turned out to be a safe outcome, because I think I can speak for everybody when it's like, you would rather someone be a fucking idiot and lie and say they have a bomb versus somebody actually having a bomb and taking people's lives.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm really curious what led this man to make these claims. There was obviously no information on that. So that could be a number of things. That could be maybe there was someone coming later who was going to bring something. You never know. Cause like a lot of the times these people don't work so solo, or maybe there's like some mental health issues or some other kind of issues with other things. And he just did it for attention. But it's one of those things where it's like, fuck around and find out. And you said you had this. So of course you're going to be arrested. And now here you go. You're going to get your charges. So bye, bitch.
Yeah, don't mess around with things like that. Because a cruise ship, like out at sea, if that had gone off, that would kill everyone.
Would have been awful for sure. But for our next one, we are going to come back over to the US. This case comes out of Oregon, and the headline reads, Oregon man accused of killing 3 women and dumping their bodies is indicted on a 4th murder charge. So we're looking at an alleged serial killer, depending on the timing of everything. Just saying. A man accused of killing 3 women in the Portland area and dumping their bodies has been indicted on a 4th murder charge, authorities said Tuesday. And this came out August 6th. So the 5th. So this happened on the 5th, I would assume. So a grand jury has indicted Jesse Lee Calhoun in the November 2022 death of 22-year-old Kristen Smith, the Multnomah County District Attorney Nathan Vasquez said during a news conference. The new indictment, which comes roughly 2.5 years after Smith's remains were found, adds 1 count each of second-degree murder and abuse of a corpse to Calhoun's case. Calhoun was indicted last year on the deaths of Charity Perry, 24, Bridget Webster, 31, and Joanna Speaks, 32. He pleaded not guilty to 3 counts each of second-degree murder and abuse of a corpse in the initial indictment. He remains in custody, of course, at the Multnomah County Inverness Jail, and his trial is expected to be held in 2027. His defense attorney, Cameron Taylor, declined to comment. Melissa Smith, Kristen Smith's mother, said she was, quote, overwhelmed with emotion. I've always stayed hopeful that I would get justice for Kristen. I think every single person who didn't give up on this case. Perry, Webster, and Smith were found in Oregon, while Speaks was found in an abandoned barn in southwestern Washington. Their bodies were found over several months starting in early 2023 in wooded areas, in a culvert, and under a bridge that were all in about a roughly 100-mile radius, which sparked concern that a serial killer might be targeting young women in the region. Police and prosecutors have shared little information in the case, which makes sense because the first thing that jumped into my head was Israel Keys. Not saying this guy's Israel Keys level, not saying anything like that, not comparing. It's just, we all know, like at this point, that any cases like this, they're going to keep it close to the vest because unfortunately, if there's 4 victims right now, there could possibly be more. And they have to be careful on what they're putting out there, not only for the protection of these victims' families so they don't get false hope, but for the integrity of their cases. Also, again, it's like the same with Diddy. You never know, or the same with the cruise one. It's like you never know if they were working by themselves or if they were working with somebody else. Because really, we haven't seen very many cases of like current serial killers, essentially, just because of, the measurements we do have for technology and the resources police and stuff have now. So I feel like it could go either way. We really don't know, right? On that note, they did note in this article that they are investigating the death of another woman during this time period. So unfortunately, there may be more victims. Calhoun was arrested in June of 2023 on unrelated parole warrants and indicted in May of 2024 in the women's deaths. The indictment came weeks before Calhoun was due to be released from state prison, where he was returned in 2023 to finish serving a 4-year term for assaulting a police officer, trying to strangle a police dog, burglary, and other charges. He was initially released in 2021, a year early, because he helped fight wildfires in 2020 under a prison firefighting program. Governor Tina Kotek revoked this in 2023 when police did begin to investigate him on the women's deaths. So thank goodness they had that information to go when they did, because can you imagine, like, he's in for so many different things already as it is, and is showing a violent background. Then it's like, I'm sure if he had got out, there probably would have been even more victims than they're already finding. And it's appalling to think that in such a short amount of time, they've confirmed 4, and then now there's another one. Like, that's
Yeah.
really scary.
It's always terrible when you hear these like people who have basically been allowed to be out in the world that they've come so close to like getting held accountable, and then they kind of skirt around it. Essentially, makes me sad.
Yeah, for sure. I found an interesting headline for a case I hadn't heard about, which I'm really surprised. Y'all know I'm pretty active on Crime Talk, so I'm surprised I hadn't heard about this. This next one reads, "Stepmom held man captive for decades until he set house on fire." A Connecticut man alleged to have been held captive and starved by his stepmother for more than 2 decades escaped from the small room he had been locked away in by setting their house on fire, authorities said. When the authorities responded to the blaze in Waterbury, southwest of Hartford, on February 17th, they found a severely emaciated 32-year-old man who had not received medical or dental care in years and had been subjected to, quote, prolonged abuse, starvation, severe neglect, and inhumane treatment, the police department said in a news release. According to an affidavit in support of the arrest warrant, authorities were dispatched to the family home at 8:42 p.m. on a report of an active fire. The man, who had been treated for smoke inhalation, told a responding officer that he set the fire using a lighter, hand sanitizer, and paper. He said to them, "I wanted my freedom." His stepmother, Kimberly Sullivan, age 56, was home at the time and refused to talk to police. The police chief, Fernando Spagnolo, said that, quote, "This is probably one of the worst acts of inhumanity I have ever witnessed." A relative who visited the stepson after he was freed compared his condition to that of a Holocaust survivor. And he says that, and the police chief said that, "I'm grateful the victim is on the mend." So she was arrested back in March, and she was set at a bond of $300,000. And of course, she was denying all of this through her attorney. And her lawyer said he wasn't locked in a room. She did not restrain him in any way. She provided food. She provided shelter. She is blown away by these allegations. At her arraignment, prosecution said the stepson, who is 5'9", weighed 68 pounds when he was found, and told authorities he had been locked inside an 8-by-9-foot room since the 4th grade. The man told authorities that he was let out in the mornings for 15 minutes to 2 hours to do chores before he was locked away again. And when asked how often this routine was, he stated every day. The man recalled that his father used to let him out of the room on the weekends, according to the affidavit. He occasionally was allowed to work in their yard. The last time he recalled leaving the property was nearly 20 years ago when he was 14 or 15. After his father died, his captivity grew more intense, according to the affidavit. He was given 2 sandwiches a day and the equivalent of 2 small water bottles. When a detective asked why he never told anyone about his situation, he said he wanted to, but he feared the constant threat of longer lockdowns and further diminishment of food. He describes the life of being mentally conditioned by Sullivan. He stated that the threat was that he could not see the light of day if he told anyone, and knowing that he had little time out of his room at that point, it was not something he could risk. The stepson was in school until the 4th grade. An inquiry by state officials in 2005 found a homeschooling plan adequate. He said that there was no contact with law enforcement or other officials in the intervening years. At one point, an uncle grew concerned after he visited the family for Christmas, and the stepson appeared skinny, meek, and mild-mannered. When he tried to talk to the boy, Sullivan intervened. The family pushed him away. He asked questions. He tried to reach out over time, but he never received any response. He added, "There's a lot of inaction by people closest to the victim. That's really hard to judge. We all have families. We all understand how domestic situations work. It seems like this went on for quite a long time, and Kimberly was very successful in hiding this from the public eye and even her family's eyes." And then the whole reason I brought this up was because at the end of last month, there was another article that came out about this. And basically, there have been all kinds of like criticism on CPS and things like that, right? So they have made their own statement when it comes to this, as they typically do. So the Department of Children and Families released, that's who it is, not CPS, but same, released a summary of its findings from an internal review, which says it received 6 reports related to the Waterbury home from 1996 to 2005, and that each report was investigated. During that time, the agencies made unannounced, announced, and after-hours visits to the home, which is roughly 30 minutes southwest of Hartford, like I had mentioned previously, saying that in their assessing home conditions and food availability. DCF investigators interviewed the Holmes children alone and away from their parents, the summary says. It says that the kids did not disclose neglect or abuse, which if he's too afraid to even admit it to family, he's definitely not going to admit it to like a caseworker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he might think it's worse for him outside the home.
Right. This is just completely baffling to me. That, you know, I'm sure I can't even imagine what that kid looked like at that point. You know what I mean? Because family was already concerned back then. And when they, like the last article said, when they tried to intervene, it was just like, get the fuck away, basically. DCF also noted that, quote, the field of child welfare has evolved over the past 2 decades. Our heart remains with this young man, along with his extended family members, friends, and others who know him and may have been impacted. We keep him and the unspeakable trauma he has endured at the front of mind. Well, that's not going to help him, but okay. That just broke my heart so bad because it's just 20 years. And being 5'9" and not even weighing 70 pounds, like, my God, my heart breaks for that man so bad.
Yeah, it's really hard because things that happen with kids and then you find out like as adults, like there was that girl who was like duct taped to like a potty chair or whatever for like 10, 15, 20 years. It's like you find these cases and you're like, how are people not intervening? And here's a case where people were bringing up and concerns and people were going to the house and people are manipulative. People will make it like, imagine telling a kid that you're already abusing. So they already know that you'll do violence against them. Say, if you say anything, we'll kill you. Like there has to have been that. Like you couldn't convince me that that wasn't said to that child. Or that if they take you away, you think it's bad here. Think about like people who don't actually want you, that just want to cash a check. So I could see where this young man had his brainwashed into believing that like he had no other choice. And he got to the point where he was like, I need to get the fuck out. And the only way I'm going to do that is he may have just been like, I'm willing to die with this as well. Cause yeah.
So heartbreaking. Also, as y'all probably do know, Kohberger took a plea deal to have the death penalty taken off the table, to plead guilty to the 4 murders of the college students from Moscow, Idaho. And he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He was given 4 consecutive sentences for that. And then he was also sentenced to 10 years in prison on the burglary charge. And for each charge, Kohberger was also charged $50,000. He owes a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim for each murder charge. So for all of the families. He's also been required to submit DNA as part of his plea deal. And Kohberger has waived his right to an appeal because we know for him, and I'm sure, you know, his team, everybody knows that him getting life sentences rather than being put to death was his best case scenario. And if you guys did not, you can look up stuff from the trial from that. Some of the victims' family members did impact statements, and they are so powerful and so heartbreaking. And I don't even want to go into it because just thinking about it makes me want to cry just because of how fucking awful it is. And on top of this, there is another case at a different college in Washington that was very similar. It was him breaking into, allegedly, I'll say, like another college shared house. And it was for sorority girls. And he came in, and the only reason he didn't take anyone's life at that point was because the one victim, the room he went into, she was awake, but she acted like she was asleep. And I'm assuming she waited till he got within range, and she like kicked the fuck out of him in the stomach. And then he just like took off. But it was like the same thing. He had a knife. He had this, you know, he had a mask on. He was wearing all black, like everything the same. So I'm like, for me, I'm like, holy shit. He was really trying to do this to another group of people before he did it in Idaho. So that piece of shit is right where he belongs. Right. To never be let out.
I wouldn't be surprised if we found more stalker cases, more home invasion cases, maybe attacking women at night. I think you and I have had a conversation. I don't know whether we did it on like the pod or if it's just us talking, but like we were like, this seems like a really big escalation for our first time that he broke into a house and killed 4 people. Like that's a lot. Most people don't start there. So it would be interesting to see if, like, if you use Ted Bundy as an example, he, you know, he stalked women, he broke into people's houses, and then he, you know, they have to get comfortable. You have to, like, to be able to do some of the shit, you have to know what you're doing. And it would not surprise me if we start finding out like some like B&E cases, especially once they get his DNA, like that are all linked to this shit, because it would make sense. And you know, he lives in an area where you can drive a couple hours in like 3 directions and be in different states. So then it's not only, I mean, there's a hard enough time when people like are in the same area, but like, cause when we did the case of the Peeping Tom, where it was like in the Bay Area where these places are like literally 50 miles from each other, couldn't communicate. Imagine being like 100 miles and in a different state, not just a different county, but a different state. So it'd be really complicated. So I feel like we're going to find out that he's committed a lot more crimes.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah. Ugh, gross. Also, I do want to say the crime scene photos for the Moscow 4 is out, but the families have asked, please don't share those. Please don't spread those around. I can't even imagine trying to be on any form of social media whatsoever and having certain things pop up on their For You feeds. I would be terrified. So to help all of these families move on, like, please don't. I always have felt like that way. It doesn't matter what the case is, because it's no shade to anyone that ever does share that kind of stuff or whatever. But it's like, for us, we have always been really cognizant of that when it comes to the survivors or, you know, families of these victims. We never want to share that kind of stuff because it is so graphic, and it just, these families have been through so much over the past few years. They don't need anything else. Please leave those where they live on the internet and don't spread them.
The essential carrot puree, made with organic carrots, a bit of green apple, and a touch of ginger. Served still slightly warm and fed, mostly, to 7-month-old Harper and her 3-year-old doodle named Arthur, who helped clean up any remainder. The essential first bite, made possible by Vitamix. Only the essential.
The NFL is back, and FanDuel's got everything you need to play your game, from same-game parlays to live betting. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus in present and select states. 18 plus in Kentucky and Wyoming. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Capella University, we believe accessible education can make a difference. That's why we offer scholarship opportunities to all eligible students. Un futuro diferente está más cerca de lo que crees con Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Okay, we're going over to California, and the headline reads, California man pleads guilty to repeatedly shooting at police helicopter as it flew around his home after his birthday party. So a California man faces up to 20 years in federal prison after he repeatedly shot at a police helicopter following his birthday party. The U.S. Attorney's Office, Central District of California, announced on Friday, August 8th, that 40-year-old Justin Derrick Jennings of Orange County has pleaded guilty to 1 count of attempting to damage, destroy, disable, or wreck an aircraft in the special aircraft jurisdiction of the United States, more than 1 year after he shot at an Orange County Sheriff's Department's helicopter. Officials say the shooting took place when Jennings became, quote, angry after drinking during a birthday party and fired an entire magazine of ammunition inside his home. He then spent around 20 minutes intermittently firing his rifle at a responding Orange County Sheriff's Department helicopter, per a release from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Jennings had been drinking and became angry during his birthday party before his family left the home on March 9th, 2024, according to court documents. He then removed a rifle from his gun safe and fired an entire magazine worth of ammunition inside the home as the rest of his family left the residence and notified police. Good on them. After a police helicopter and several deputies responded to the man's home, he made his way to the second story of the house and began shooting the rifle upwards in the sky, firing only when the helicopter was visible to him. And like I said, it took place over the span of 20 minutes, which I'm sure felt like 20 fucking hours, especially those trying to de-escalate the situation. Then, during a search of Jennings' residence, law enforcement seized 2 revolvers, 2 handguns, and 2 rifles, along with multiple rounds of ammunition. Bullet casings were scattered throughout the floor, and law enforcement also seized 2 magazines and a box of ammunition that was on a couch beneath the window from where Jennings fired the weapon. And he will be back in court next year on January 30th, 2026. He faces a statutory maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison. The Orange County District Attorney's Office initially charged Jennings, but dismissed the case so that the federal case could proceed. Both the FBI and the Orange County Sheriff's Department investigated the shooting. So basically, he fucked up, and FBI is like, no, we're going to take this over and give him as much time as possible, which is like good. They should, because literally he could have killed somebody, like even an innocent person. But it's like, damn, it's like you guys go so hard over people like this, but then we're going to let Diddy only serve maybe a couple years in prison at most. Because let's be real,
Right.
He probably won't serve a lot of time. Yeah, the maximum sentence for Diddy, sorry to bring him back up, but it's like the maximum sentence I think was like maybe 20 years. But then I was reading stuff too that was saying that more than likely he'll serve 1 to 5 years, which I mean doesn't shock me considering what we know about society. But it's just like, it's just so gross. Not saying this man doesn't deserve 20 years because yeah, you were being fucking scary, but it's like someone who's arguably been worse should also serve that time. So it just makes me so fucking mad.
It's one of those things where the laws that we have sometimes end up like, there's other cases where you'll have like someone who has like raped someone, right? And that sentence is like, they get like 5 years, right? And they're out in like 2.5. Then you have the person who like attacks their attacker. And because it's like aggravated assault, it's 10 to 15. And why is this person who like maybe not defended themselves, but like attacked the person who attacked them later serving more than the person who caused them harm in the first place? It's like, there's some issues with the laws in our country and like the way that they kind of protect predators. And that's a lot of reasons why women don't go forward is they're like, why would I spend the next year plus of my life going to court, fighting this person, and then he's going to maybe walk away with probation? You know, like I look at the Brock Turner situation where that kid was like, he did less than 6 months for his rape and he was caught red-handed. There was no way to be like, well, he didn't do it because they literally caught him. And this is like one of those situations where like, yeah, what this man did was really dangerous because if that helicopter had like been shot out of the sky, the helicopter pilot could have died. That could have crashed into somebody's house. You know, there's so many terrible things that could have happened. So yes, he should have a big sentence, but also other people should have big sentences as well.
Well, in case you missed it, Lori Vallow has been extremely busy. She has been in and out of court a lot this, I would say, last year or so. With all the other stuff she has been convicted for, she has been given 2 additional life sentences in murder conspiracy trials. These ones were carried out in Arizona. So at the end of July, she was given the 2 life sentences for conspiracy with her late brother to kill her 4th husband, who we know was Charles. That was her husband, the last husband she had before.
I think so.
Chad. Yeah, that's who that was.
The number is what confused me. I was like, oh, number? What? Which one?
I know. And then also her niece's ex-husband, who survived a failed drive-by shooting that same year. She was found guilty of 2 counts of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in the 2 separate trials in Maricopa County this past spring. And she was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years for each conviction to be served consecutively. But given how the kid stuff went, like she's never getting out. So like, nobody worry. And the judge said to Lori, quote, "You have not victimized just a single victim, but many. You've shattered lives. You undermined trust. And in the face of such profound damage, a long prison sentence is not merely a punishment. It is a necessary affirmation that our society values justice, protection, and the sanctity of human life." And we already know she's been convicted of the murders of her 2 children. And then she was found guilty of stealing Social Security survivor benefits as well. And both her and Chad are just like, you know, they're just fucked. They're never getting out. And Chad's on death row, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, because I think he was sentenced before Lori was. So these 2 stupid motherfuckers are getting everything that is coming to them. So yay, good. Love to see the karma on that. At this point, we have been covering Lori for years now. We started shortly after the news broke that the children were missing.
I feel like we've been following them for decades. Like, it's been so long.
Shit, it's been like 5-6 years at this point with their asses, I swear. And if you guys are newer or you haven't listened to those, we did do multiple episodes on Lori and Chad and the whole case. Definitely just kind of like sift back through, but they are there. We did a lot of coverage on that. And then to wrap us up today, it's still a crime, okay? But I was like, I would like to find something that's a little less heavy, since a lot of this is. And our last article for the episode, the title reads, "The Labubu craze has hit fever pitch, and thieves just stole $7,000 worth of dolls from a California store." Labubu.
Labubu. I also love that a lot of people think Labubu is Gen Z slang for lobotomy, and I was like, I'm here for it either way. But don't steal a Labubu.
$7,000 worth of them. I'm like, holy fuck, that's a lot. So the store's called One Stop Sales. So they had posted on Instagram that burglars broke into their store and, quote, stole all of our inventory, including the plush toy that, some of us love, some of us hate. I don't know why people think they're scary, because I'm like, bro, do you forget about fugglers? Do you forget about those motherfuckers with real looking teeth? Like, come on, like real human looking teeth? Come on.
My favorite part of this whole sensation has been that like Christian nationalists and Christian conservatives have been like, Labubus are the devil. They're demons. Don't bring them into your house. They each have their own like demon spirit. And I was like, wow, do you know the history of Labubu? It's not that, but okay, calm down.
Right. So they ended up sharing as well on their post this like picture from one of the security cameras of one of the people. And they had put like, if you guys can share this, please, we need to find these thieves, so we can go after them. Right. So the Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies responded to the robbery in La Puente at 1:29 a.m. on Wednesday, August 6th. And they said, quote, several boxes of Labubu dolls were stolen, valued at approximately $7,000. The four men used a stolen Toyota Tacoma that was recovered by deputies after the burglary. One Stop Sales posted the security footage. Oh, okay. So they didn't even just post. See, that's the thing. They didn't even just post the picture. So they actually shared the video. And if you look up this article, it's on People. You can watch it because they link the Instagram post, of course. So the co-owner, she told ABC7 that the shop had only been open for 2 months before it was robbed. And there was more than just the Labubus taken. She said, quote, there was a lot taken, maybe around $30,000 or more of inventory. We worked so hard to get to this point, and for them to just come in and like nothing, take it all away, it's really bad. She believes that the break-in was planned, she told the news outlet she spoke to. And she said she had noticed a truck parked near the store on Tuesday night after the store posted on social media that they had restocked the store with the Labubus. She said, I was watching everything from when they got in, what they were taking. I was panicking because I just couldn't do anything. I mean, they haven't been arrested. It seems like from this article, so they put that the LA County Sheriff's Department investigation is still ongoing. That is so crazy to me. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not shocked, because on the bottom of that article, it even says too, like, people are doing what they do with like everything that goes viral or is trending. People are resellers. People flip it and then they sell it for insane amount of money. Sometimes they're up for hundreds of dollars. And one that they noted was like up to $500. I'm just like, first of all, please nobody buy it. You don't need a Labubu that bad. You don't need a Labubu that bad. You don't need to pay $500 fucking dollars. Like, please do not. There's so many ways to buy them at this point. Like, please don't do that. That stresses me out. It's like, oh my God. But yeah. So that is going to go ahead and wrap up our True Crime Headlines episode for today. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you ever come across a crazy headline or something you want us to talk about, please feel free. People tag me all the time and stuff on TikTok. I can't remember her username, but there is one individual. She always tags me and stuff. And then sometimes she'll tag me in funny stuff. And I'm like, yes, because I recognize her username by now. So I'm like, yes, bitch. So if that's you, whoever's listening, because I think she's in the Facebook group, but I'm not going to say her name. I love it. I appreciate it. And even if you're like, oh my God, I don't want to tag them because like blah, blah, blah. No, we literally like appreciate it because we're two humans who work full-time jobs. So we don't see everything. So yeah. love it, or email it to us, whatever you want to do. But we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for today, and we will see you back here next week. Bye, guys.
Toodles.